Have you ever been in one of those situations where you just feel like you can't quite connect?
Oh, absolutely. Like in a meeting or maybe with family.
Exactly. Or even just trying to, make a new friend.
Yeah.
That's this universal thing, isn't it? Wanting to be heard, wanting to influence things a bit, build those strong connections. We deal with it every single day.
It's totally fundamental. But
Yeah.
so often it feels like we're just kind of winging it, right?
Yeah.
Hoping for the best.
Well, welcome to the Deep Dive right here on the podcast channel. This is where we take your sources, articles, research notes, whatever you've got, and we really pull out the key insights.
Think of it as like a shortcut to getting properly informed.
Yeah, exactly. With some surprising facts, maybe a little bit of humor to keep things interesting. Our mission today, to really get you a full, deep understanding of one of the most, enduring guides to human connection ever. Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
It's such a classic. And the backstory is fascinating. When it first appeared, 1937, I think. Just a tiny print run, like 5,000 copies.
Really? Only 5,000?
Yep. But then, boom, overnight sensation. Sold over 10 million copies. 36 languages.
Yeah.
And it's still incredibly popular, almost 100 years later. It just hit a nerve,
It definitely did. So for this deep dive, we're going to unpack those core principles that made it such a global phenomenon. We'll look at these timeless truths about, us human nature and see how they can genuinely help you navigate life, with a bit more success and maybe even more happiness. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it. The book's origin story itself really shines a light on this universal need that surprisingly wasn't really being addressed back then.
How so?
Well, Dale Carnegie basically wrote it because there was this huge gap. Think about John D. Rockefeller.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about a successful guy.
Right. Standard Oil. Huge.
Exactly. And he famously said, the ability to deal with people is as purchasable a commodity as sugar or coffee. And get this, he said he'd pay more for that ability than for any other under the sun.
Wow. That's quite a statement. The most powerful businessman valuing people's skills above all else, but no guide.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Which leads to this really interesting survey.
Ah, the Meriden survey.
That's the one.
Huh.
The University of Chicago and the YMCA schools, they did this massive 2-year study, cost $25,000 back then, which was a fortune.
Mm-hmm.
They interviewed every adult in Meriden, Connecticut, asked something like 156 questions, and what popped out. After health, the number 2 thing adults cared most about was, and I'm quoting here, how to understand and get along with people, how to make people like you, and how to win others to your way of thinking.
That's incredible, isn't it? Such a clear demand, but like you said, no practical textbook.
Nope. And that's what directly pushed Carnegie to write one.
And he didn't just whip it up, right? His research was intense.
Oh, totally rigorous. Not guesswork at all. He spent years prepping, read everything, newspapers, philosophy, psychology. He even hired a researcher for a year and a half just to dig through biographies. Leaders throughout history, Julius Caesar, Thomas Edison. He apparently read over 100 biographies of Theodore Roosevelt alone, just studying how they handled people.
Wow. He was serious about finding what actually works.
Exactly. And he stressed these rules are not mere theories or guesswork. They work like magic, and he saw it happen.
Mm-hmm.
There's this great story about an employer, had about 314 workers.
Okay.
For years, this boss just criticized everyone, drove them hard. Total disconnect. Then he started applying these principles from the book.
Yeah.
Complete transformation. The place went from nobody even greeting him to being full of loyalty, enthusiasm, teamwork. His employees actually started calling him by his first name.
That's a pretty powerful testament, isn't it? That real-world change.
It absolutely is. It shows these aren't just nice ideas. They have a real impact. So, shall we dig into some of those fundamental techniques, starting with maybe a surprising one about how we usually react?
Let's do it. So we know how vital connection is, and Carnegie really did the legwork. But okay, putting it into practice. Where do you even start? He begins with something kind of counterintuitive about criticism.
Yeah, that's the first big one. The futility of criticism. It's surprising because, our first instinct is often to correct, right? To point out what's wrong.
Sure, seems logical.
But Carnegie lays it out. Criticism is futile because it puts a person on the defensive and usually makes him strive to justify himself. And worse, criticism is dangerous because it wounds a person's precious pride, hurts his sense of importance, and arouses resentment.
It really does put up walls, doesn't it? And the book gives some pretty stark examples, like Two-Gun Crowley.
Yeah, the cop killer. Even when he was cornered by like 150 cops, he wrote this note saying, "Under my coat is a weary heart, but a kind one." He saw himself as the victim.
Unbelievable. And Al Capone, too.
America's most notorious gangster, called himself an unappreciated and misunderstood public benefactor.
So the point is, if these guys didn't blame themselves,
what chance do we have that our criticism is going to land well with everyday people? It just doesn't work that way. Modern psychology backs this up too, B.F. Skinner's work showed rewards are way more effective than punishment.
Right. Positive reinforcement.
Exactly. And Huxley said, as much as we thirst for approval, we dread condemnation. It's just wired into us.
There's that example of George B. Johnston, the safety guy.
Oh, yeah. Great example. When he just ordered workers to wear hard hats, what happened?
Yeah.
They did it, but grudgingly.
And took them off as soon as he left.
Right. But when he switched tactics, stopped ordering, and started praising the guys who were wearing them,
the whole dynamic changed. People started complying willingly.
It's a powerful shift. Even Lincoln learned this the hard way. Wrote an insulting letter once. It backfired spectacularly. And after that, he apparently almost never criticized anybody for anything, even with his generals messing up badly in the Civil War.
He just bit his tongue, knowing it wouldn't help.
Exactly. So if criticism is out, what's in? What actually works to connect and influence? Carnegie points to something deep in human nature.
The craving for appreciation.
Precisely. William James, the Harvard psychologist, called it, the deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated. This need for a feeling of importance, it drives so much of what we do.
From Lincoln's ambition to Rockefeller making money.
To even, criminals seeking notoriety like Dillinger wanting to be public enemy #1.
Yeah.
It's that fundamental need.
But it's crucial to distinguish this from just, flattery, right?
Absolutely critical.
Yeah.
Carnegie hammers this point. Sincere appreciation, he says, comes from the heart out. Flattery, that's from the teeth out. It's insincere, shallow.
Like General Obregon said, don't be afraid of enemies who attack you. Be afraid of the friends who flatter you.
Wise words. And think about Charles Schwab.
Yeah.
Andrew Carnegie paid him $1 million a year, which was insane back then.
Why so much?
Schwab himself said it was mainly his ability to deal with people. He claimed he'd yet to find the person who did not do better work and put forth greater effort under a spirit of approval than he would ever do under a spirit of criticism. That was a huge part of Andrew Carnegie's own success, too.
And the flip side, the lack of appreciation can be devastating. That story about the farm woman.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. 20 years cooking for her family, not one word of praise. She said she felt like they was just eating hay.
Wow. And the book mentions studies on runaway spouses citing lack of appreciation.
Yeah, it's a real factor.
Yeah.
But the positive power is immense. Think of Florenz Ziegfeld, the Broadway guy. He didn't just hire chorus girls. He glorified them, made them feel special.
And the Stevie Wonder story, that's amazing.
Isn't it? A teacher noticed his sharp hearing, appreciated it, encouraged him. And look what happened. It just shows honest appreciation works where criticism and ridicule totally fail.
It really does. People hunger for appreciation. It's like, the legal tender that all souls enjoy. Okay, so we get rid of criticism, focus on appreciation. What else? How do we actively make people like us?
Well, one of the simplest, most powerful things is principle 1. Become genuinely interested in other people.
Simple, but maybe not easy.
Maybe not always easy, but think about a dog. Why do we love dogs so much?
Unconditional love. They're just happy to see you.
Exactly. They make a living, Carnegie says, by giving you nothing but love. And that genuine interest is magnetic. Alfred Adler, the psychologist, said the person not interested in others causes the most problems.
That makes sense. And the magician, Howard Thurston.
Yeah, he captivated audiences partly because he truly felt grateful they came to see him. He was interested in them, not just performing at them.
And that sales rep, Sykes, he kept a tough client by
talking to the clerks, the soda jerk, the sales staff. He showed genuine interest beyond just the boss. People feel that authenticity.
Okay, genuine interest. What's next?
Principle 2, smile.
Smile. That's simple.
Sounds almost too simple, right? But think about what a smile conveys nonverbally. It says, I like you, you make me happy, I'm glad to see you.
It does change the energy, doesn't it? Like that story about the baby in the doctor's waiting room.
Yeah, Dr. Spruill told that one. Gloomy room, everyone's down. Then a baby smiles and suddenly everyone lightens up.
And the stockbroker, William Steinhardt, he actually made it a project.
He did. He decided to consciously smile at everyone. His wife, the doorman, the subway cashier, colleagues. He said it revolutionized his life, made him happier, and even financially better off. He said, smiles are bringing me dollars. It's like a welcoming sign.
Okay, interest. Smile. What's principle 3?
This one's huge. Remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language.
Ah, the power of names. Jim Farley, Roosevelt's campaign manager.
The guy knew 50,000 names. And not just the names he learned about their families, hobbies. It wasn't just memory, it was connection. It was key to FDR getting elected in '32.
And that story about Sid Levy and Mr. Papadoulos.
Nicodemus Papadoulos, yeah. The customer actually cried because Sid Levy made the effort to learn and use his full, correct name. He said nobody had ever done that. It meant the world to him.
Even FDR himself did this, remembering mechanics' names.
Exactly. It makes people feel seen, feel important. It builds incredible goodwill. These aren't just superficial tricks.
No, they tap into something really fundamental about feeling valued. Okay, principle 4.
Be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves.
Listening as a compliment.
One of the highest compliments, Carnegie says. He tells this story about being at a dinner party, and he basically just listened intently for hours while a botanist talked.
And the botanist thought Carnegie was
a most interesting conversationalist.
Yeah.
Even though Carnegie barely said a word, people want to be heard.
Yeah, and the example of Julian Detmer dealing with an angry customer.
Perfect illustration. Customer comes in furious. Detmer doesn't argue, doesn't defend. He just listens patiently, lets the guy vent, shows he understands his viewpoint. And
resolves the whole thing, keeps the customer happy.
Because he truly listened first. Okay, principle 5.
Talk in terms of the other person's interests.
Yes. This taps into motivation. Harry Overstreet said, action springs out of what we fundamentally desire. So the key isn't telling people what you want, it's figuring out what they want and framing things that way.
Like Carnegie trying to get his rent reduced at the hotel.
Exactly. He didn't argue about his own budget. He made a list of the pros and cons for the hotel of him staying versus leaving. He focused on their interests. And he got the rent reduced.
And Barbara Anderson getting job interviews.
She wrote 12 letters to banks, got 11 interviews. Why? Her letters weren't about what she wanted. They focused on how her skills could specifically help each bank achieve its goals.
It's about finding that mutual benefit, appealing to their desires, like getting kids to clean up.
Yeah, Joe Fant turned cleanup into a train game, loading coal onto the train. Appealed to their desire to play, not his desire for a clean room.
It all comes back to that feeling of importance, doesn't it? Whether you're Dillinger or Rockefeller, you're seeking it somehow.
Exactly. The difference is how you seek it. Which leads us nicely into the next part. Being a leader, changing people's behavior without causing friction.
Right. This is where it gets maybe even more strategic. Because trying to change someone often leads to conflict. So what's the first principle here? Avoid arguments.
Precisely. Principle 1. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it.
Even if you're right.
Especially if you're right. Carnegie learned this from his friend Frank Gammond. Carnegie had won a point about a quote at dinner.
Right, the Shakespeare quote.
And Gammond basically said, so what? You proved him wrong. Did it make him like you? Why not let him save face? Because, as Carnegie says, 9 times out of 10, an argument ends with each of the contestants more firmly convinced than ever that he is absolutely right.
You win the battle, lose the war, or the relationship. Like Mr. Parsons and the tax inspector.
Yeah, instead of arguing, Parsons acknowledged the inspector's importance, agreed with his points where possible, avoided confrontation. Result: the inspector became reasonable, resolved the issue fairly.
Lincoln's advice holds true. Better give your pass to a dog than be bitten.
Exactly. Don't contest just for the sake of being right. But what if you're the one who's wrong?
Principle 3. If you are wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically.
It's incredibly disarming. Carnegie himself used this. Got caught by a policeman walking his dog off-leash in the park.
What did he do?
Before the cop could even start yelling, Carnegie jumped in. Officer, you've got me red-handed. I'm guilty. I have no excuses.
And the cop's reaction?
Totally softened. Went from stern authority figure to being merciful, basically saying, well, it's a small dog. Just take him over the hill where I can't see him. Admitting fault diffuses the situation.
Robert E. Lee at Gettysburg is an amazing, if somber, example, too.
Profound. Taking full public blame for the disaster of Pickett's charge. All this has been my fault. That takes incredible character. And Michael Harvey, dealing with his angry boss.
He just kept saying, it's my fault.
Yep. Took all the wind out of his boss's sails, earned respect instead of getting fired. It turns potential conflict into understanding.
So, avoid arguments, admit fault quickly. What else?
Principle 4. Begin in a friendly way. Always. Lincoln again. A drop of honey catches more flies than a gallon of gall.
That makes intuitive sense. Like Rockefeller Jr. with the striking miners.
Perfect example. They hated him, hated the company. But he went and spoke to them, not defensively, but with genuine friendliness and concern, presenting facts calmly. And
they went back to work without him even addressing their demands.
the friendly approach disarmed them. Or Gerald Wynn needing the subdivision owner to pay for flood damage.
Started by chatting about the guy's vacation first.
Right. Built rapport, then mentioned the little problem. The owner readily agreed to pay. Friendliness paves the way.
Okay, so we're being friendly, avoiding arguments. What about getting people on board with our ideas?
Principle 7. Let the other person feel that the idea is his or hers.
Ooh, that's clever. Why does that work?
People just trust their own ideas more, right? Ideas they feel they discovered themselves. Colonel House, Woodrow Wilson's advisor, was a master at this.
How did he do it?
He'd subtly plant suggestions, make them seem like casual thoughts, and then Wilson would later bring them up as his own ideas. House let Wilson take the credit.
And the X-ray company is selling to the hospital.
Brilliant. Instead of just demoing their perfect new machine, they invited the head radiologist to critique their imperfect, still-in-development equipment. Made him feel important, involved, like his input mattered.
And he ended up championing the purchase.
Exactly, he felt ownership. Closely related is Principle 8. Try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view.
Empathy, basically.
Deep empathy. Kenneth Good said, success in dealing with people depends on a sympathetic grasp of the other person's viewpoint.
Yeah.
Carnegie learned this himself with kids starting fires in his park.
Threats didn't work.
Not at all. But when he shifted, tried to understand why they were doing it, they wanted to feel important, like campers, and talk to them from that perspective, they cooperated.
And Elizabeth Novak avoiding repossession of her car.
Yeah, she was late on a payment. Instead of being defensive of the collector, she apologized, explained her situation, and explicitly said she understood his position and how frustrating it must be for him. She saw his viewpoint. He ended up being helpful.
So see their view. What about Principle 9? Be sympathetic. Isn't that similar?
It is, but it's more about validating their feelings, even if you don't agree with their point. Carnegie offers a magic phrase. I don't blame you one iota for feeling as you do. If I were you, I would undoubtedly feel just as you do.
That sounds incredibly validating.
It really is. He used it on a woman who was furious about a supposed error in one of his talks. He sympathized immediately, validated her feelings, and she ended up apologizing for her tone.
Wow. And the story about the opera singer Charlie Chaplin.
So Hurok, his manager, said dealing with the temperamental bosso was all about constantly dripping with sympathy to manage his moods and get him on stage. Validating feelings is key.
Okay, sympathy. Principle 10, appeal to.
Appeal to the nobler motives. Basically, assume people want to do the right thing, that they have a sense of fairness and honor, and appeal to that.
Even when they owe you money, like the bill collector example.
Yeah, Mr. Thomas, the collector. Instead of threats, he'd write letters assuming the customer was sincere, honest, truthful, and just needed reminding, appealing to their sense of fair play. He not only collected overdue bills, but sometimes got new orders too. People generally want to live up to a positive expectation.
That's powerful. What about Principle 11, dramatize your ideas?
Yes. Sometimes just stating the facts isn't enough. You need to make it vivid, interesting, dramatic, show, don't just tell.
Like the cold cream salesman.
Exactly. Instead of just quoting stats, he dumped 32 jars of competitors' creams on the buyer's desk to visually dramatize the market situation. Instantly engaging.
Or Charles Schwab boosting steel production.
Classic. Night shift wasn't producing enough. Schwab didn't lecture them. He just took a piece of chalk and wrote the number of units the day shift produced on the factory floor.
A silent challenge.
Exactly. The night shift saw it, got competitive, and beat the day shift's number. The next day, the day shift saw the new number and pushed even harder. Drama creates engagement.
Okay, one last principle, which actually revisits something we touched on earlier, praise.
Yes, Principle 6 in the leadership section, but it deserves emphasis. Praise the slightest improvement and praise every improvement. Be hearty in your approbation and lavish in your praise.
Jess Lair's quote is great here. Praise is like sunlight to the warm human spirit. We cannot flower and grow without it.
So true. Think about Enrico Caruso. His first teacher told him he had no voice. But his mother's praise, her belief in him,
made him arguably the greatest tenor ever. And Charles Dickens.
His whole life changed trajectory when one story got accepted and praised. It gave him the confidence, the validation.
And that story about Marie the dishwasher, it's just incredible.
Isn't it? Georgette LeBlanc telling this humble servant, Marie, you do not know what treasures are within you. It gave Marie a reputation to live up to. It utterly transformed her.
And Mrs. Hopkins, the teacher with Tommy T, the bad boy.
Same principle. Instead of labeling him bad, she called him a natural leader and said she was counting on him to make the class the best.
And he rose to the occasion.
Completely.
Yeah.
Praise unlocks potential. So you see, these aren't just isolated tactics.
No, it's more like a philosophy, way of interacting.
Exactly. Carnegie calls it a new way of life. It's about genuinely seeing and appreciating the potential in others and discovering those dormant and unused assets in yourself, too.
It really shifts the focus from trying to win or be right to trying to connect and build something positive. Like Herbert Spencer said, the goal of education isn't just knowing stuff, it's doing stuff.
Action, putting it into practice.
So here's a thought to leave you with. What's one single principle from all this that you could choose to apply, like today? Maybe transform one interaction or move closer to a goal.
Remember, even a small change in approach can ripple outwards.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you found this deep dive valuable, if it gave you some insights, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button.
Yeah, and maybe share it with someone you think could benefit from these ideas.
And definitely leave us a comment. What was your biggest takeaway? Or maybe you have a question for our next deep dive here on the podcast channel. We genuinely love hearing from you.